Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I'm answering a question I saw on the SEO forum, which is, are Google Stacks safe for SEO? Should you use Google stacking to improve your SEO? The answer is no, but I'm going to explain why Google Stacks are not a good tactic, what they actually are, what they're a derivative of, where it comes from, what it actually is. Now, Google stacking is actually it comes from an old SEO strategy, which a lot of people refer to as Web 2.0s. Now, the idea was instead of pointing spammy links or private blog network links or links from an article farm, which are blogs which are basically only set up to create just random articles and then link out to whatever local business is paying for links that day. Instead of pointing these directly at your main business website, your money website, what you would want to do in the past was point these at what was called a Web 2.0. So this would be like Medium, Weebly, Wix, WordPress.com, Blogspot, any place where you could get a site put up for free or next to nothing. And these sites would, in theory, act as a buffer between the questionable links that you were building and the money site. So instead of just pointing directly from here to here, it'd point at this other site and then pass PageRank there, and then that PageRank would pass, that link equity, that link juice, whatever you want to call it, is passing toward your main site. Now, that is not as effective as it once was, because I do believe that Google caught on to that trick a little bit. Now, what people have done over the last year or so is developed this other thing called Google Stacks, or Google stacking. So instead of pointing it at these Web 2.0s or just using Blogspot, which is a Google property, instead they're using all these different Google properties. So Google Drive, Google Sheets, anything that you could leverage that's a Google property, because they figure Google is not going to devalue or de-index their own properties. So using a Google property is the safest way to go. That's what Google Stacks basically are. Instead of using other people's properties or other so-called Web 2.0s as a buffer zone, you're using Google properties. Now, the problem with this is you're still sending spam links, from article farms, from PBNs, private blog networks, these sorts of things toward this buffer zone, even if it is Google properties, and then sending it toward your money site. Now, why this is happening and why people are selling this. These are all the people that basically used private blog networks, which are big networks of sites that exist to basically as a big link scheme, a big link wheel, and then people sell links from articles that they pay somebody offshore to write for $10 or something, and then they sell a link to the local businesses for like 50 or 100 or $200, depending on how well they've built up that particular site in the PageRank within it, how many spam links on the link wheel that they've flowed into that particular site. So the problem is starting in 2014, Google started cracking down on private blog networks and PBNs and article farms to the degree where a lot of them got devalued pretty quickly. And they still do get devalued pretty quickly if Google knows that they're looking at a private blog network. If Google knows that they're looking at a PBN, then those still get devalued. Now, a lot of people still use PBNs. A lot of people still use private blog networks. It has not deterred people from using them. The problem is they sink a lot of money into these, and they get devalued in shorter and shorter time. Now, there's a lot of ways that people use black hat SEO to sidestep that. But the problem is it's very dangerous ground. You're building your SEO strategy on a foundation of sand. And if Google, it's weird to think that they wouldn't be able to track spam links into their own properties, because of course they can. They can track it. If Google does at some point decide to devalue those links, it's not going to do you a darn bit of good. So my advice to you is, instead of using a gimmick or a tactic or some BS strategy that a snake oil salesman is selling you, instead try and make the content on your site better. Make it match the searcher intent of what people are trying to do. Build up legitimate links, build up your brand, and try and try and differentiate your brand from other brands. Build up some buzz around your business that's legitimate. Now, depending on where you're at or who you're competing against, you might not need a ton of links in order to succeed. But it pays to actually get a second opinion on some of these things, especially when people are like, I can solve all your problems, with this Google stacking thing on Fiverr. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And just keep that in mind. SEO really is a long-term effort, and if somebody claims to have the magic answer that's going to solve your problems in a week or two, it's probably too good to be true. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here every single day publishing videos, 365 every single day. If you have a question, leave it in the comments below. I'd love to see you subscribe. All I have for this video. Until next time, peace.